Alright, let's do work. This is going to be a quick tutorial about how to master a track. And first off, I want to set this up. Mastering is not the same as mixing, so I know a lot of people get this kind of stuff confused. Mixing is basically whenever you have everything in the mixer and you're making all the volumes of every single one of your instruments exactly the way you want it, and you're putting all the effects on them that you want, all the effects on all the different instruments and vocals or whatever. And mixing also includes EQing all of your sounds and getting all of that down pat. That's all part of mixing. All mastering is basically making the track as loud as possible without clipping, while still trying to maintain the dynamic range of the song. So, with that being said, right now I've got an unmastered sound wave in here. This is just a beat that I threw together a while back. I've never even used it. It's just a loop. It just loops on and on and on. It's not anything special, so I figured I'd use it to show you how to master a track. But I'm just going to jump into it really quick. And I also put the beat into channel 1. That way you'll see how the sound wave looks before. And I'm going to be doing all the mastering actually on the master channel. You don't have to do it this way. You can do it however the heck you want it. I'm just going to show you how to do it real quick. And this is going to be really fast. Whenever you're doing mastering, you need to take your time and maybe sit on it. Maybe take a couple of days, or take as long as you want, really, to listen to it over and over again and get it exactly the way you want it. Same thing with mixing. This isn't something that should be rushed, but for the purpose of the video, we don't have weeks and weeks to sit here and ponder over and use our ears and stuff. So we're going to do this really quick, and I'm going to give you the general basics as fast as I can of how this works. And we're going to be using nothing but stuff that comes with FL Studio, because you can do everything with all the effects and stuff that's already here, so that's great. I'm going to the master channel. I'm going to pull up what's called Maximus, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on default, because I don't know what it's set to right now, but it's going to automatically start trying to master your track for you, making crap louder for you, and you want to do it yourself. You know, this isn't a get quick deal. This is, you're going to sit there and do it yourself exactly the way you want it, sort of thing. So there really aren't any shortcuts. Let's check it out. So first, let's look at the sound wave. You can tell that there's and I'll make the sound wave a lot bigger. I'm going to touch the top with my mouse, the top of this peak. I'm sure you could see it. There's a big difference between the top of this peak and down here. Look at this. I mean, there's a lot of room in between here and here. Well, basically what we're going to be doing is making a lot of this look a lot more uniform, and I'm going to show you what it looks like after as well whenever you're done with this. And whenever you're mastering a track, pick a spot where pick a spot of the song where it's the loudest, I guess, and start there. That's the way I'm doing it, and that's kind of the way I would recommend doing it. And I'm in no way a professional. I do get paid for this sort of stuff, but it's not like I'm hired by a major label. So I'm still learning just like you guys, but I think I've got a good handle on this sort of stuff. So I guess maybe take my advice worth a grain of salt, but at the same time, I do know what the hell I'm doing, so I probably could give you some pretty good advice. Just throwing that out there, because a lot of people probably would do stuff a lot different than me. But let's jump in it. I say pick a part of the song that's got all the instruments going at the same time. That way, that way you have an accurate comparison of how loud it's going to be at its loudest point. You know what I'm saying? So this track here is just one loop all the way through. There is no loudest part. So I'm going to play it through real quick and let you listen to it, and I'm just going to get to work and start explaining stuff as I do it. So you're going to see Maximus here. This is what it looks like, and I just left clicked on this this main looking section here, by the way, to pause it. But this is what it looks like. It's showing your sound wave right here. It's also going to be showing you over here what's going on. We're going to be using this part for compression. And there's a whole lot of other knobs and doohickeys here. I'm going to explain what you need to do to use all of these. But what's going on is you've got four main bands here. You've got the low band, you've got the mid band, the high band, and the master channel, the master band, okay? Now what we're going to do first is we're going to solo each band one at a time, starting on the low end. Okay, so right now it's just going to play the lows, and I'm going to let you hear it. So this is a preset and predetermined range that they have set here. What I'm going to do is click on where it says bands. So now we can see what frequency range that they've used to determine what they think is the low end, mid range, and the high end stuff. We're going to manually do this ourselves. Okay, make sure you're clicked on band, and then also click on spectrogram and see what happens here. I have it paused. Unpause it. That would be the best place to start. Let me click on spectrogram again. I was wondering why the hell it wasn't showing me anything. I had it paused. So my bad on making myself look like an idiot in front of all you guys. But check it out. So now you can see the only part that you're seeing here is the low end, because we have it soloed. So check this out. This knob right here lets you pick what part you think is the range. I mean, we're setting it right now. This is definitely cutting out a lot of the mid. And you have to use your ear. There's really no rule of thumb. You're using your ear here. I'm thinking somewhere around here. And the reason why, I mean, let me give you a little insight on what I'm thinking. What I'm hearing is, it sounds like I can hear some of the snare, and in my head I'm thinking the snare belongs in the mid-range, not in the low range. So if I can hear the snare whenever the low end is still playing, then I need to adjust accordingly to get rid of the snare as much as I can. And I'll start way right on this and show you what's going on, so where you can hear the snare and see where you would stop. Maybe you would do it different than me. You can hear the snare barely right now. Now it's almost non-existent. I'd say here's a good spot. Now we're going to jump to the mid and do the same exact thing. You don't have to change anything. It's just going to excite the frequencies in here, and you're going to get to see them. And now we're going to be messing with this knob here on the right. Alright, I think this is a good place, and I'm doing the same exact thing, using the same reasoning as before, except this time I'm not using the snare as a reference. I'm using the hats and the hi-hats, any of the cymbals, because that's what belongs in the high end. Any type of cymbal, crashes, splashes, chinas, hi-hats, open and closed, anything that's a cymbal and stuff like that belongs in the high end. So if I can hear a whole lot of the cymbals or crashes or hats or anything, then I know I need to adjust accordingly to eliminate it from the mids. And I'll show you again. I mean, we'll do it just the same as before. I'll let you hear it. Right now you can hear that open hat a lot. So I'm going to move left to try to get... This sounds like a good spot. And it's good to do this on your own. That way, because every song is different, you know, so you'll be using different sounds that excite different frequencies. So that's the very first step here, is getting your frequency, your bands set the way you want them. So we're gonna click on monitor now. We don't need to look at bands anymore, and we can look at the highs. I mean, if you do the lows and the mids, the highs is pretty much set as well. I'll let you hear it. and as you can hear it, it's pretty much nothing but the cymbals, and you can hear the high end of the snare and stuff like that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start compressing all of these. Not a whole lot. You don't want to over compress stuff, but there is stuff that's louder than others. Let's look at the master track and play it. You'll notice that there's some things, some instruments are definitely louder than others, and you can see it on the monitor. We're not going to stay on the spectrogram anymore. So as you can see, every time the loudest, the higher the peaks are here, those are basically coming from the kick drums and the snares. And that's not a bad thing. It's just we're going to get rid of a lot of the... we want it to, all of it to be more equal. Like, I don't know how to say it. You don't want something being crazy louder than all the other instruments. So what we're going to do is mess with the low end first and look at it. Yeah, I mean, you could tell right here. This is a lot louder than down here. So we're going to try to get these kind of together. And I'm going to show you how to do it. Right now, if you hover your mouse on this section right here, okay, see where my mouse is hovered? This is about where the softest parts are at, okay? This is about where the softest parts of the sound wave is at. And I can tell that this is at 16.5 decibels. And the way that I can tell this is by looking up here in this top left corner. It tells you, as I hover over here, see there? It says somewhere around 15 to 16 to 17 decibels here. So what you're going to do is you're going to come over here. You're going to put your mouse, see this straight line that's going through here? What you're going to do is you're going to make a right click right around 15 somewhere decibels, which is right here, and you can even see it. It's I'll play it, but you can see where the average volume is at. It's somewhere right in here, and every once in a while you've got the loudest volumes peak out way up here. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to minimize this, and we're going to do that by dropping this down now. So we've already right clicked. Okay, now as you can see, let's pause it and take a look at what's going on here. As you can see, the white section here is starting, you can see some purple background going on. The purple background is the original file, or the original sound, and now all of this white is the new sound. So what I'm going to click is this right here. This is the band input peaks. If I click it, it's going to get rid of the purple. And now all that's left is the showing you the new sound wave, what it looks like now. And this might be a little too over compressed, so I might go up a little bit more. And you're going to take your time and listen and use your ears for this sort of stuff, but I'm giving you the general ideas. So please don't hammer on me for not mastering this perfectly. Jesus Christ, I can just see it coming already. Just giving you the ideas. Oh, and all this white stuff up here, you can see these white lines that are going down. It looks like it's mirroring this green down here, and all the green is your output peaks. So again, the purple is the input, the green is the output after the compression, and as you can see, it's definitely more uniform looking. It's the volume seems to be leveled out a little bit better, okay, and that's what you're going for. And you can use the release. I'm gonna play this. Here's the release right here. You can use the release. Let's go left a little bit to make it mirror it a little bit better. You want it to look like it's mirroring the output a little bit. And play around with it. Check out what happens whenever I compress it even more. This is about as far compressed as it gets. I mean, I'm sure you can hear that. It sounds super over compressed. Somewhere right around here is where it would be alright. Okay, so check it out. We're going to do the same thing for the mid-range. Okay. I'm going to right-click, do the same thing. Now let's look at the purple. Let's look at the input and the output together. Let's see what we've got. just looking a lot more uniform. Let's do the highs. Looks like the snares are the loudest part here. We're going to do the same exact thing. And you don't want to compress the high end a lot because it's gonna sound like you're overdoing it. It really will. Okay, so now let's look at the master channel. So you can already see here that it's starting to look more uniform. And that's probably the stupidest word to use. I don't know why I keep saying uniform, but you know what I'm saying. It's starting to look a little bit more leveled out here. It's starting to look like it's doing a better job, and the volumes aren't as unequal. Okay, all the stuff's starting to look like it's coming together. And if you want to, you can even compress the master channel a little bit. You don't want to overdo this. I'm gonna play it. You gotta find where the middle, like the average volume is at. I'm thinking it's somewhere in here. And if you look at the top left, like before, it looks like it's at 12 decibels. Okay, so now you get the general idea. So now the sound is definitely softer than it was before originally. It's definitely a lot quieter now because we've compressed a lot of stuff, which is basically lowering the volume on certain parts, certain frequencies. That's basically what we've done. We've lowered the volumes on stuff to make everything more uniform, together, even. Okay? So what's going on now is we're going to raise the volume up as much as we can without clipping. So check this out. This is the way we're going to do it. We can either A, use the post gain to raise the volume, and we might do that. I'll show you. I mean, we could use nothing but Maximus. I might use some other stuff afterwards. But here's the post gain, which is just raising the volume of everything. And you don't want your sound to cross this purple line. This purple line represents 0 decibels. And if anything goes over that, then you're doing what's called clipping, which is a no-no. You do not want to clip. Because that's when you start distorting your sound at that point, which is not good. We want clear, sexy, crisp sounds. Okay? So here we go. I'm just going to keep raising the post gain as much as I can. I'm going to get as risky as it can get. Alright, we're flirting with death right about here. Once we get, we're getting pretty close to this line. So what we're going to do now is come in here. We're going to get out of Maximus. And what we're going to do now, I'm going to open up Fruity Limiter. I like using Fruity Limiter a lot. Let's take a look at it. Okay. And you can also click on this just like Maximus, and it looks a lot like Maximus right now too. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a ceiling on this, right? Just barely touching the tips. I'm raising the ceiling to barely touch the tips of these peaks here. And I'll show you why in a second. The main reason I'm doing this is so this decibel peak meter right here, it'll have a flat line on it at all times pretty much. So you can definitely visually see. I'll show you before. It's going to look like it's sporadic probably. I'm not sure because we haven't really looked, but you'll get the drift. As you can see, this right here, this set of lines is moving up and down and stuff. This is just going to give you a clear picture whenever you put this ceiling on it of exactly where the line is most of the time. So let's do that. As you can see, it doesn't look like it's moving a whole lot, so that's where we're at. Now you can turn the volume up a little more. And you can turn the volume up a number of ways. You can go back to here and do some gain. Okay, I mean, you can raise the volume almost anywhere. You could even take this up a notch. Maybe you shouldn't do it that way. You could pull up parametric EQ and raise the volume here without changing any of the bands. But that's all you're trying to do, is get the volume as close to 0 as possible. One thing, I know some people like to do this sort of stuff, and this is pretty much mastered, by the way, as far as we can do in 10 minutes or however long this video has been. I'll give you one other tip to raising the volume. Let's say after using Maximus, you didn't use the post gain. Okay, let's say for pretend, let's do it that way. And I'll turn this limiter off. This is what it sounds like. You can see the volume is considerably far away from 0 right now. You might want to pull up Sound Goodizer. I know some people have done this. Not sure if it's the smartest way to do it, but I know it works. Ooh, and that sounds like it's a whole lot. So let's turn this thing down here. And they have 4 different presets on the Sound Goodizer. All Sound Goodizer's doing is raising the volume. It sounds to me like whenever you have it set to A, and I haven't messed with B, C, and D too much. D sounds pretty cool. There's not a whole bunch of difference. You'll get the idea when you play around with it. But whenever it's selected on A, it sounds to me like it's boosting some of the low end and the high end at the same time that it's raising the volume. So it sounds pretty alright, but maybe it would be recommended to not do this at all. Let's see what it sounds like. Just giving you something though, because in my opinion it still sounds alright. And I'm going to raise the volume by turning this knob up here. And as I do it, watch the peak meter up here go up. Watch that, because that's what we're going for. We're going to see how close we can get this thing up to 0 right here. I'm going to go ahead and actually put the ceiling on right here. Okay, so this is pretty much as far as you could go, really. I mean, now it's starting to sound pretty wild. This is as close to you can get as far as volume goes. And what I'm going to do really quick is I'm going to export this file here just to show you the difference. And remember, you're going to use your ear for all of this, and you're not going to go as quick as me. Promise me that you'll use knowledge and wisdom on this. But we're going to export this as a WAV file really quick. Let's just put it on the desktop, untitled. And we'll do it linear, so this will go by really fast. Please do fast. Okay, great. Oh, we can't wait for years on this sort of thing. I just want to show you the difference in the sound wave of the newly, very roughly mastered track compared to the other version. Okay, that's pretty much it. Take a look at the difference now. There's a big difference. I'm sure you can see it. It's clear and obvious. The difference between a half-assed semi-mastered track that we did in 10 minutes versus completely unmastered. So you can just see the sound wave is a lot thicker because the volume is a lot louder now. So that's basically the gist of using Maximus for its compressing abilities and to raise the volume. If you guys have any questions, leave comments, leave me messages. If you liked this, subscribe to my channel. It means a whole lot. Thank you guys for all the support. I know I got a lot of support right now. Thanks for everybody that's been following my videos. Like this video. Love me. Screw the haters. Party hard, you guys. I'll see you guys next time. Later.